Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very sweet and simple thank you card that I created using supplies from the 2 Steps Simple Leaves October Card Kit by Simon Says. For the very first time, I will be using the rub-on sheets provided in the kit. I'm really excited for this project and I hope you have fun watching it too and get inspired. Well, before we take a look at the supplies that I used to create this beautiful botanical themed card projects, I would really appreciate if you could take a minute to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notified every time I post a new video. From the 2 Step Simple Leaves card kit, I will be using the Botany Boutique Rub On sheets by Craft Consortium, which will be the focal point of our card. I will also be using the Fluted Forest Decor Embossing folder, which will give us a beautiful nature-inspired background featuring an overall design of pine cones, leaves, branches, and flowers. And for a little thank you sentiment, I have the 2 Step Simple Leaves stamp set by Simon Says. Now, to create the base for my focal points, which are those beautiful planters, I decided to cut a piece of this white cardstock. This piece measures 3.5 by 4 1/4 inches. Now, I chose a smaller panel because I wanted to mat it onto that embossed background. As well, I wanted to show most of that beautiful botanical background behind my focal point. Now, before I could stick the rub-on transfers onto this panel, I decided to stamp the sentiment on the lower part of the panel. This way, I will have enough space left on the top to stick the rub-on potted plants. I decided to stamp the Thankful for You stamp using some gold embossing powder. I first lined the sentiment using my Simon Says Stamp Grid transparency sheet. Once I was satisfied with the position of the stamp, I brushed the panel with some anti-static powder and then stamped the sentiment with the Simon Says Stamp clear embossing ink, and then poured the gold embossing powder all over it. I heat set this using my heat tool. I chose to add my sentiment before adding those rub-on transfers is because I just didn't want to ruin the panel just in case I was not able to stamp the sentiment properly. Now, once my panel is done with the sentiment, it's now time to add these rub-on transfer sheets. Now, this Botany Boutique Rub On features a set of 2 sheets of rub-on transfers, and we have so many beautiful images like the potted succulents, cacti, ribbon spools, scissors, lap equipments, and so much more. Now we have 2 sheets here and a tool which is more like an ice cream stick that will help you transfer the rub-on sheets onto your cardstock. Now I decided to cut off all of those images which I wanted to be as the focal point of my card project. And here I have 3 potted plants. Now to use this, all you have to do is remove the backing from this transfer sheet and place it directly onto the cardstock where you want this image to be stuck. Now, as the name suggests, you have to actually rub onto these sheets so that the image gets stuck or adhered onto the card base. Now, I like to use my bone folder to gently rub the image onto the card panel. I didn't realize how easy this was to do. All you had to do is rub on the sheets onto your card paper and you have beautiful focal points ready in no time. Just take a look at how gorgeous this plant looks. I feel, better than a stamped and colored image, and it shows no sign of any glue or any outline and makes it looks absolutely seamless. I repeated the same steps with the other 2 images. If you see here, I did overlay these images, but when I remove the backing, you will see that it does not show up a lot and it blends in seamlessly. I'm absolutely loving how this project is turning out and how easy it is to create. I am definitely going to do a lot more of these rub-on transfer sheet cards because I feel this is one of those where you could create beautiful card projects in no time. And if you're in a hurry or want to create a 10-minute card project, I feel this technique is absolutely perfect for that. Take a look at how beautiful this panel turned out. You could definitely replicate this design onto an A2 size card panel, but since I wanted this beautiful embossing folder to show That's the reason I created a smaller panel. Now, this is the Fluted Forest Decor Embossing folder, which is a nature inspired background featuring an overall design of pine cones, leaves, branches, and flowers. I'm absolutely in love with these embossing folders. I love 3D embossing folders by Simon Stamp. They are absolutely gorgeous, and there are so many detailed, intricate designs available. Now, keeping in mind the botanical theme of our card today, I decided to use this beautiful, gorgeous green for our background instead of a white embossed panel. Now, you could leave the panel as is, but I wanted to add some depth to those beautiful, intricate designs. So, I'm using the pine positively saturated ink to add around the edges of this card panel. Now, I am not very worried about the concentration of the ink. I just want to highlight all of those beautiful patterns. And here you'll see I've left the center, not ink blending it there. That's because my white focal point panel will be adhered over it. So it doesn't really matter if there's ink blending over there. Now, since this is an embossed panel, I like to use either liquid glue, which is a really strong adhesive glue, or some foam tape. Now here I added liquid glue to this panel and stuck it on the embossed background. And to adhere this entire panel onto a piece of A2 size top folding note card, I'm using some foam tape. Now, to add some bling to our card, I decided to use the Simon Says Stamp Positively Dazzling Gems in the pastel tones. Now, these gems, they are raised flat gems, and we have a bunch of different colors. We have blues, greens, oranges, light pinks. We have three different sizes here, but for our card, I decided to go with the greens in all of these three sizes, and I like to use my Barely Art glue to stick all of these sequin mixes or gemstones on the card front. Here's a closer look at the finished card. I love how beautiful this card turned out, not just the rub-on transfer sheets, but I feel it pairs perfectly with our embossed background and the ink blending that we did on our background. And those green gems absolutely complement with all of that color theme that is going on here. Now, like I said, I'm definitely obsessed with these rub-on transfer sheets. Now, here's another card project that I created using these rub-ons, and take a look at those beautiful potted plants that I used here. Now, for my sentiments, I used the Alluring Orchids stamp set. This is the beautiful Sending Hugs stamp set by Altenew. I absolutely love the clean and simple look on this card. So here, using these rub-ons, you see I created two card projects, totally different but absolutely beautiful. I hope you had fun watching the video and got inspired. Well, I definitely am going to use this in multiple projects. All the supplies that I used in today's video will be found linked in the description box below. All of these links are affiliate links, which means that if you shop using these links, I get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Well, thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.